Hello.
So excuse me, sir. I just got disconnected for a second. So our today's presenter is Mr. Mohit Saxena, CTO at Infinity Labs Limited. He's got 18 plus years of industry experience in telecommunication, international roaming, IP, CS core, PS core, and automation, segment routing, and NFV. He implemented the world's first CDMA to GSM interstandard roaming with MECH Luxembourg. Mr. Mohit was a principal architect with Cisco and spent 8 years where he architected solutions and networks for all major service providers in India and SAARC, including Airtel, Jio, Vodafone, MTS, Aircel, TTSL, Tata Communication, Idea, and many more. He has been awarded by PM Modi for contribution to IT industry. Also, he possesses a patent of CDMA to GSM interstandard. He would be presenting to us today SD-WAN technology, evolution and updates, security aspects in SD-WAN and advantages, about Infix, the next generation secure SD-WAN. I would like to welcome the speaker of our last session, Dr. Sudhir S. Marar. He delivered to us a wonderful speech, which was very much insightful for all of us. So on behalf of all our founder members, I invite Mr. Sangeet for a few words and to address our attendees of today's session.
Hi everyone, good evening.
Good
Warm
evening,
welcome to the session. First of all, I would like to welcome our presenter today, Mr. Mohit Saxena. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, audible.
Okay. Sorry, I would like to welcome our today's presenter, Mr. Mohit Saxena. And also I would like to extend our warm welcome to all the attendees of today's beautiful session. It's a knowledgeable session related to SD-WAN technology, its evolution, updates. I would like to tell a few words about our IT Leaders Club. So IT Leaders Club is nothing but a club formed by IT leaders of non-IT organizations. When I say non-IT organizations, it will not include any OEMs or software or hardware vendors, networking. No, I'm talking about non-IT companies, but who are working as head of the IT department. And so the main prime objective of this club is it's a voluntary club. We are not collecting any charges at the moment. All the members are being selected on a recommendation basis. We are doing the shortlisting very thoroughly, whether the company is a non-IT company and the person who is recommended is a head of the institution on the IT department. All these things we are checking, and finally he or she is selected. Now, after that, our prime objective is to share the technology aspects of day-to-day life. So we used to share our questionnaires, some quizzes on the group, and all the persons are answering. So this is kind of a challenges, whatever technical challenges that we are having on a day-to-day life, it's being addressed on this platform. So a lot of people are benefited from this platform. I'm proud to tell that I am one of the founder members of this particular club. And along with other founder members, Mr. Suresh, Mrs. Manjula, Anjusha, Anu, and Jain. Thank you once again. Going back to Mr. Mohit Saxena.
Thank you, Sangeet, sir. So as we always do in our session, we are presenting a certificate of appreciation to our last speaker, Mr. Dr. Sudhir S. Marar. Unfortunately, he is not with us today because of some...
Yeah, he has informed some difficulty to come today. So,
yes, sir.
Virtually,
so
yeah.
This is a certificate that we'll be providing him through email with a thanks letter on behalf of IT Leaders Club as a token of love and appreciation. So I hope everyone could see the certificate. So moving on, I request our founder, Mr. Suresh Kumar, to do an honor of inviting our guest speaker of the day. Suresh, sir.
Hi, good evening. So, welcome to our IT Leaders Club. So, we are expecting a good knowledge session in this evening. So, as mentioned, Mr. Sankir, this group is formed to share the knowledge to everybody in the IT industry. So, our thought is once we share the knowledge for the IT leaders, these IT leaders will implement that systems in their organization. If the organization utilize that technology, that will helpful for the society. So ultimate aim for this collaboration, or the collective people in this gathering, is to share the knowledge. So surely we are expecting a good knowledge sharing from Mohit Saxena. So welcome. Please start the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Suresh ji.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Suresh, Ms. Manjusha, and other founder members of IT Leaders Club for this opportunity. And before we get into this session, I would really want to appreciate and congratulate the IT Leaders Club of the wonderful initiative you guys have taken, which is really appreciable. Knowledge is like power, and distribution and free flow of knowledge with synergy is something which is very much right, which is the energy. However, most of the clubs, most of the memberships are commercial in nature, and this is like I would say one of the initiative of its own kind which I've seen in the industry. So my sincere appreciation and congratulations to all of you. With that, I would want to start the session off, and I have got some slides to share with all. So just give me a sec. Let me share my screen here. Hope it's visible to all.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Excellent. Once again, welcome all. And our today's session talks about SD-WAN technology. And SD-WAN, I would just give the full form of SD-WAN first. It's software-defined wide area network. This is the quick agenda on which we'll be touching base upon. So we'll start off from the CIO focus areas. What are the challenges in the IT departments of various organizations? And as mentioned, we are talking about all the organizations, not just the OEMs, not just the pure IT firms, but any organization, because IT has become an intrinsic part of each and every organization. We'll talk about that. What are the trends? What are I would say the telescopic vision as well as the microscopic vision for the CIOs and CTOs and IT leaders. Then we'll discuss on a quick introduction on the SD-WAN technology, how it can help the IT leaders and CIOs to meet those objectives. Then we'll talk about SD-WAN components and benefits and features. And after that, we'll have a quick question answer session and in between, I'll give a quick overview of what we do as Infinity Labs as well, and how our product fits in the overall industry picture and can help us in achieving the objectives. So these are some of the CIO focus areas which I have kind of picked and chosen for this particular, I would say, domain. So as we know that the connectivity is kind of the 4G and the LTE, all these things have been proliferated, and they have reached the common man in such a nice way that the connectivity has become kind of available everywhere. But whether the connectivity is stable or not, that is still remains a big question. Again, security and reliability of connection is another major focus area where, or I would say a major challenge. First of all, it's a challenge, and then it becomes a focus area to how to mitigate this challenge. Then, of course, the mobility and the facility to add remote and mobile employees, because we all know during this pandemic, most of us have been working virtually, working from our homes, working from various different places, and we have all undergone these challenges where the connectivity would go off, or sometimes you can't hear people, sometimes you can't see what's being shown, and sometimes the productivity gets hit and goes for a toss. Then multi-cloud environment is another, I would say, focus area where everybody is thinking of going towards the cloud and kind of going away with the existing infrastructure and embracing the cloud offerings, the software as a service, the infrastructure as a service offerings provided by various cloud vendors. Um I recently heard one of the global IT leaders saying that it's going to take another 5 years for the IT cloud vendors to really reign on IT industry. So that statement, is very valid, and I certainly support that statement where cloud is still going to take some time. However, the cloud has got various different forms and shapes. So if we talk about public cloud, it's the Amazon Azure, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud, and all those kind of companies who have put their infrastructure in the public network, and people can start harnessing the power of compute on a pay as you grow basis, which is excellent. But some of the companies would not want to put all the traffic, all their important critical traffic, critical data onto a leased infrastructure. So the adoption is really picking up, but is still at a stage where private cloud is still plays, I would say, a major role, where most of the compute which stays within the organization carries most of the data and related processing. So that is also cloud, but again, it's a private cloud, and that is serving most of the data nowadays. Um, then, if we talk about the business requirements for network transformation, there are these 6 points which are on top of my mind, that the infrastructure should have the capability to support real-time data exchange, and we should be able to cater to hybrid cloud infrastructure where some of the applications are still running on private cloud, some of the applications are running on public cloud, and there is a synergy between both the clouds. Then when we are distributing our data, then security becomes a major concern. So the infrastructure should be fully secure, and the WAN connectivity should be secure, because whenever we are trying to reach the public cloud, we are using internet, which is the public connectivity medium, and is not considered that secure, because most of the attacks are originating from the internet. Then high uptime and resiliency becomes another focus area. And of course, the prioritization of business applications is another very important aspect of the overall infrastructure deal. And optimized WAN infrastructure costing is another thing which every CIO would be looking for, because reducing the OPEX becomes one of the key matrices for any IT business head. So these are some of the existing WAN challenges when we kind of talk only about the WAN. So right now, the kind of WANs which most of the offices are using are MPLS or lease line kind of connectivities, whether it's a lease line, ILL lease line, internet lease line, or it's an office to office connectivity lease line, or there could be some dark fibers some of the offices might be utilizing for heavy data transfer between multiple offices. So the major challenges for these kind of WAN infrastructure is limited application visibility. We do not know what all applications are going through our WAN, utilizing our WAN, and at what all throughputs. Whether any application is getting starved, or whether any application is throttling, or is using most of the bandwidth and choking rest of the applications. We do not have that visibility on the traditional WAN infrastructure. Then manual change management is another pain area, where we have to do the change windows and manually make changes for whether it's corrective change or a planned maintenance for WAN improvement, and all those changes are manual in nature, which lead to a lot of human errors, and of course a lot of outages. Then decentralized network manageability is another major concern, because most of us are running heterogeneous networks. When I say heterogeneous networks, it means that we have various vendors spread across our network. So the routers could be, from vendor X, and the switches could be from vendor Y, the firewalls could be from vendor Z, and maybe the servers could be from vendor A. And each and every of these equipments or types of equipment have their own manageability, software stack, own skill set which are required in order to manage them. And there are multiple windows which the IT administrators have to open in order to manage these stacks. And of course, the CIOs have to manage multiple teams which are skilled to manage all these things for them, and that leads to a lot of increase in OpEx. Then fragmented security becomes another challenge, and that's a challenge big enough to spoil the overall dish, where we have maybe we have some firewalls in our network, but the same kind of policies are not propagated towards the other segments of the network, which are only running routers, or maybe which are only running the compute. So security is very much fragmented. Maybe we put just one firewall at the periphery wherever we are connecting towards the internet, and we think that we are secure. But are we? So that's a question which we need to have a I would say deep inspection about. Then suboptimal bandwidth utilization is another challenge which is quite frequently observed in most of the industries, where you have multiple WAN links, maybe internet links or your lease line links. And whenever you have multiple WAN links, the load balancing on those links is never optimal. Either you put it as active standby. So when you put it as active standby, that means your active link will only be utilized, and the standby link just remains there, keeps waiting for the active link to go down, and then it would take up the traffic. So it's suboptimal utilization of the bandwidth. Sometimes what happens is, even if you're running multiple links in active manner, maybe one of your links is overutilized, it's choked, and other is still lying empty. That is because of the flows, because sometimes most of these network equipments might not be able to break down the or slice the flow into smaller flows. Suppose if you're downloading a big file, or maybe if you are streaming a video from any of the video content provider sites, that itself becomes a fat flow, and maybe that fat flow would only reside on one of your links. It would not get distributed into multiple links. and that would lead to the the flow carrying link getting choked. Rest of the links might still be, staying at optimal levels, or maybe they are idling. Then we do not have the application based routing in our traditional WAN infrastructure, per se, routers, switches. They have no clue on what all applications are flowing through them, and if we can prioritize, or if we can bind the application with an SLA. So all those kind of things are not possible using the traditional infrastructure. One of the use cases I would want to double click on is the current one. Like, we all are on Zoom meeting as of now. So we would certainly want this meeting to be prioritized, the traffic of this meeting to be prioritized than other traffic which is also going through our WAN links. So that kind of QoS, or that kind of policing is is not possible on the existing link, which is kind of possibility, or I would say a reality, in terms of when we are using SD-WAN. So we'll certainly look at that. So this is an introduction to what SD-WAN is, and where do we start from, what to look at, and what to expect from SD-WAN. So starting off from the basic definition, so SD-WAN is a variant, or I would say a derivative of SDN. And SDN, we all know, it's software defined networking, and the major uh, objective of software defined networking was to separate the control plane from data plane. So earlier, there used to be a single plane. So the control traffic and the data traffic, everything would kind of run on the same ASIC, on the same software stack. With SDN, we thought of segregating the control traffic from the data traffic, so that the ASIC, which is designed for forwarding the packets, should only be doing the packet forwarding and processing the user traffic, while the control traffic should be centrally controlled by a central controller. So that is what SDN brings for us. Now, when we marry SDN with WAN, we get SD-WAN. So SD-WAN is application of SDN concepts on the WAN network. And that's how we call it software defined wide area network. So the definition itself is taken from Wikipedia, and it says that loosely applying SDN concepts to the WAN to create a centrally controlled overlay network that uh, intelligently uses a variety of infrastructure options. So in simple terms, SD-WAN applies the concepts of SD-WAN, of SDN, to separate the control plane from the data plane using a central controller, and simplifying the operations, simplifying the policies, simplifying the traffic segregation based on applications, and giving more control to the user at a very little, or I would say a small cost, which would certainly result in reduction of OPEX and increase in application behavior, application performance, and user experience. So that is what SD-WAN brings for us as an immediate, I would say, value add. Now, this slide talks about how the traditional networks look like, and what is the difference the SD-WAN brings in to the traditional network. So the left-hand side shows the traditional networking, where you have the devices with the configurations inside the devices, and you have the same box, which is kind of catering to the configurations, to the reporting, to the KPIs. So this box compute is all utilized not just for processing the user traffic, but also to take decisions based on configuration and to give all kind of reportings and all using SNMP, where SNMP servers would poll these boxes for various of the KPI inputs, and these boxes will process those polls and reply to those polls, and and provide various matrices every 15 minutes or every 10 minutes interval. Now with SD-WAN or SDN networks, SDN based networks, what we have done is we have made the boxes to only process the user traffic, which is the data plane, which forms the data plane, and control plane is taken off from the boxes in the software. And as you can see here, there are business applications which are helping to do analytics, reporting, threshold alerts, SLA tracking, capacity planning, all that stuff. And there are network services and service templates which help in the control layer. That means which help in the configuration, routing, path optimization, all that stuff. And it's all an API driven mechanism, so that we can have remote APIs or REST APIs towards the boxes to pass them the right instructions to follow while processing the data traffic, the user data traffic. So the box becomes more powerful because its workload is reduced. It's only processing the user traffic, and the software has become more intelligent now, which is doing the end-to-end automation along with control and giving more flexibility to the user. So this slide talks about the overlay and underlay concepts. So before we actually get into this slide, I would just give an example of our normal road networks. So in most of our cities, we see there are so many roads, and there are some flyovers also, which are kind of connecting the same road, but you can kind of fly off from point A on the road and land at point B, and kind of cross some of the main junctions, and which are overly crowded, which are congested due to traffic. So you can consider the main road as the underlay network, and the flyover, which is helping you cross a junction, as the overlay. So that is what underlay and overlay is exactly in terms of networking infrastructure. So if we talk about underlay, we have all these access mechanisms like fiber, Ethernet, broadband, TDM, 4G, 3G, satellite, WiMAX, microwave, whether they are providing internet or whether they are providing a point-to-point connectivity, they are all termed as underlay, because they are the ones which are primarily providing us the transport. Now, on top of that transport, we can have our specific application tunnels, which can be utilized by our applications to go to either the cloud or the data center or towards the branch office or towards the head office. So that is the overlay network, which makes use of underlay network. And SD-WAN actually helps or intelligently tells the overlay network to better utilize the underlay network. So that's the main technology benefit, or I would say the main function of SD-WAN. Now, if we talk about the generations of WAN, so we discussed on MPLS and ILL, which were kind of SLA-backed services, which are traditional in nature and provide very good latency, very good availability, but of course at a very high price. Now, what we have available is as an alternative is internet. Now, internet is consumer bandwidth, which is on best effort basis. But so the latency is not guaranteed, the availability is not guaranteed, but the prices are very attractive. With the advent of this data revolution, the prices of internet has gone down drastically, and it's available at really cost effective. But again, if you compare the availability part and the latency part, the SLA part, with MPLS, of course, there is no comparison. Internet is way behind. So those are the two options available for any organization for meeting their communication, inter-office communication, or application communication needs. Now, this slide talks about the differences, or I would say the challenges of the traditional WAN vis-a-vis the business benefits of SD-WAN. How the SD-WAN can solve the challenges posed due to the traditional WAN. So, first of all, the traditional WANs are very rigid. Why? Because even for getting a WAN connection, there has to be a feasibility study which has to be done, and then a POP has to be located, and then they will lay the fiber, then put CP equipment, customer premises equipment at the office, and then only you get the network. And of course, there are very few, I would say, options which the user has, and they have certain terms and conditions, and you have to abide by them. So very rigid, while SD-WAN is kind of agile. Then your traditional WAN options are decentralized in nature in terms of management and control, because every equipment will have a different NMS, EMS to manage. Sometimes you have to go to the CLI to manage all those things, while SD-WAN gives you the centralized management and control. Traditional WANs are at a higher OPEX, while SD-WAN's main objective itself is to lower down your operational expenses. Then your traditional WANs have lower bandwidth utilization because of various load balancing issues which we discussed, while the SD-WAN would have better bandwidth utilization, more optimal bandwidth utilization, leading to better user, or I would say, application experience. Then traditional WANs have fragmented network security, while SD-WAN have unified network security across the network. Once you put the SD-WAN, you have your micro segmentation taken care of, you have your firewalling taken care of, you have your threat management taken care of, and that too at all the levels within the network. Then your traditional WANs are ISP dependent, while SD-WAN is ISP agnostic. So you can use any of the underlay. SD-WAN will create overlay on top of it. So whatever ISP it is, SD-WAN is not even concerned about that. Then, of course, the traditional WANs come at a higher cost, and SD-WAN, of course, is at a much lower cost. Traditional WANs are complex in nature. They talk about configuration technologies like MPLS and all that stuff, while SD-WAN is very much simple. It's a controller driven, single window driven, and managed. Most of the things are automated, and the user interface itself is all UI based and interactive in nature. So it's very much simplified. So that was about SD-WAN and what the technology is, and how it can help us in meeting the business objectives. From here, I'll give a quick overview on Infinix SD-WAN. We are also one of the SD-WAN OEMs. A quick introduction about Infinity Labs. So we were founded in 2015, and we are one of the fastest growing IT automation and software companies in the country, and clocking 100% year-on-year growth. Our 2019 revenues, we closed at around 7.5 million US. Then we have our offices in Pune, Noida, Bangalore, Mumbai, and we have our entities registered in US and UK as well. We have around 300 plus software and networking engineers, 30 security experts. Then our expertise is, is span across security, networking, data center, cloud, NFV, automation, and software, of course. This is our leadership team. The company is headed by Mr. Rakesh Goel. He is an industry veteran, around 29 years of experience. He was, prior to Infinity Labs, he was managing director for Cisco India and SARC. Then you all know me, I'm the CTO. And Vineet is our CSO, who is also an industry veteran. Prior to this, he was with Nokia, and he has worked with various other organizations like Cisco, Juniper, etc. Then Mr. Jayaraman is our VP Services. He's an ex-Air Force person, and again has served into multiple telecommunication and system integration companies as the head of services. So these are three categories which the Infinext SD-WAN is offered. So the first one is Infinext next generation SD-WAN, which is pure play SD-WAN. And when I say pure play, so I would want to relate to the slide where we discussed on the concept of SD-WAN, how SD-WAN came across, and how we are marrying the SDN concepts with the WAN, and we are getting the SD-WAN. Because what has happened in the industry is like some of the, see, there are so many options available in the SD-WAN domain. While some of the OEMs were earlier router manufacturers who opted to go for SD-WAN. So they actually have routers, and they have put or tweaked the software on top of it and tried to make it SD-WAN. Then some of the other vendors were earlier the firewall manufacturers, and they tweaked their firewalls in order to make that SD-WAN, because SD-WAN is a buzzword, and that's where industry is going. So they also wanted to catch up, and that's how they tried to embrace the SD-WAN technology. But while you already have some baggage of the past, being a router manufacturer or a firewall manufacturer, you might not be able to do justice to applying the SDN concepts on a pre-existing box. So that is what has happened. In some of the cases, I have seen that people, take all the user traffic to the cloud and then do some kind of firewalling, and then tunnel the traffic back. So that is not a true SD-WAN, because then there is no difference between user plane and control plane. You have a single plane which by which all the traffic is going to the cloud, and then you are inspecting that there, and then you are hairpinning the traffic back to some other branch. So that is why we say Infinext, the next generation SD-WAN is pure SDN based SD-WAN. Then the second variant which we have is the next generation secure SD-WAN. Secure SD-WAN is powered by Palo Alto networks, where we have our SD-WAN service chained with Palo Alto NGN firewall VM50. So that all the UTM kind of functionalities are taken care of by Palo Alto, which is one of the industry leaders, and um, I would say one of the best in even the Gartner's Magic Quadrant. Then we have the third variant, which is the next generation firewall, which only has VM50 sitting on our IH100 hardware. This is how the hardware looks like. Um, Very low power consumption box, and has the 4G LTE dongle port support, which is also one of the, I would say, key requirements for any SD-WAN vendor and is not available in the industry. I've kind of evaluated multiple SD-WANs where you cannot, you know, operate your SD-WAN box with only an LTE dongle, because the LTE dongle can only be used as a backup. It can never be used as primary. However, with Infinext SD-WAN means the LTE dongle can be used as primary, which can give you that edge where if you want a quicker go-to-market, and if you want to pop up a lot of kiosk stores, or open up a new small office, branch office, without waiting for the wired connection to be installed. So here you go. So that is one of the USPs, I would say. So that was about Infinext SD-WAN. Coming back again to the core technology topic. So this is the main component, or I would say the main architecture of a true SD-WAN, how it would look like. So starting from the very bottom, the two boxes which you show, which you see in light yellow, yellowish color, CP1 and CP2 are the actual edge boxes which are stationed at the customer premises. Then the yellow colored line which is joining CP1 and CP2 is the secured data plane, which is secured with IPsec tunnel. And that is the data plane. There's no control traffic there. It's only the user traffic going from CP1 to CP2, so that the user traffic is not taken anywhere away from the customer place. Then you have two more lines which are joining the CP1 and CP2 towards the controller. So that is the secure control plane, which is only sorry, which is only taking care of the control traffic and passing the control traffic towards the controller. So there is no user traffic which goes to the controller. Then inside the controller, you've got the configuration engine, the auth service, the analytics engine, the crypto engine, the API engine, and on the very top you have the presentation layer. So all these boxes in the controller are all containers which are carrying some microservices with these names, and they have various of their own functions, and they talk to each other using the APIs. And this controller is made available to the end user for managing the overall show. And it is like once the user's intent is recorded, rest everything is done by the controller. So it's more of an intent based networking, where users intent or applications intent is translated into respective decisions, respective configurations, respective fib tables, and the edge devices are programmed accordingly. Then these are some of the I would say use cases and benefits which you get when you deploy the SD-WAN. So ZTP is one of the benefits where there is no need of sending an engineer in order to bootstrap the box, in order to do the initial installation. there's a mobile app based mechanism by which you can just scan the QR code of the box and activate it, and the box is immediately in service within a few minutes. Then a centralized dashboard, a controller, which helps in interactive management of all your network, all your branches, all your headquarters. Then uh, transport agnostic means you can use MPLS, ILL, broadband, LTE, any of those transports. So it's 100% transport agnostic. Then network management is another thing where you need not to have a big force, I would say a big army of people to manage your network. It's like almost zero touch to one touch kind of management. Then automation policies are there, so that most of the daily tasks, VPN creations, all those things are all automated using auto VPN. And of course, you have a single console for managing your security, managing network, managing compute. Everything is managed using a single console. Then these are some of the USPs, which again, I don't see most of the SD-WAN vendors, offering in the industry. And these are must-have kind of things like integration with open APIs. So every SD-WAN is kind of a closed system. Every vendor has a closed system, which means that there is no integration available to any northbound system. And as a CIO, as a IT leader, means we have to think on uh, of a platform which can be integrated with other elements in the ecosystem, which is future proof, and can be used as a long term solution. So API integration is one of the USPs which should be looked at whenever we are evaluating SD-WAN. Then insights on path performance and application usage, top talkers, all those kind of analytics is also a must, which has to be evaluated while evaluating any SD-WAN. Then your on-prem and cloud-based controller is another very important point, that sometimes some of the organizations would want the SD-WAN controller also to stay within their premises on their private cloud, which is not offered by most of the SD-WAN vendors in the industry. The controller is always on public cloud. So this is also one of the things which has to be looked at while evaluating SD-WANs. Then RBAC and real-time visibility is again something which I didn't find in most of the SD-WAN players. So the usual way of managing the network was through SNMP protocol, and that's what everybody is following in the industry. So SNMP is your simple network management protocol, which makes use of a client server architecture, where the SNMP system initiates a poll towards the device, and the device then processes the poll, gets the CPU interrupt, and forwards the required or the requested KPIs towards the SNMP system. And this happens every 10 minutes or every 15 minutes. And whenever this mechanism happens, there is a CPU hog, and the user data performance might be impaired. While this is the usual way, we have kind of gone 2 steps ahead and implemented streaming telemetry, which means there is no pull mechanism. Means the SNMP system need not to pull the control data from the devices. It's a push mechanism where the device itself keeps on generating the KPI data, the health data, and keeps pushing it towards the central controller, so that there is no CPU hog and there is no performance impairment for the actual user applications. Also, you get the data real time. So it's not a 15 minutes old data or a 10 minutes old data as the case is in SNMP. It is 1 second almost near to real time data which you get. And based on that data, the SD-WAN becomes more equipped to take better decisions based on machine learning, based on artificial intelligence and all. Then this slide talks about some of the NGN firewalls, NGN firewall features on SD-WAN, where it is the Infinix SD-WAN is tightly integrated with Palo Alto, and it's a joint initiative of Infinity Labs and Palo Alto, so that even the TAC support for the Palo Alto is also provided by Infinity Labs. Infinity Labs is authorized tech partner also for Palo Alto. So this slide talks about the real-time telemetry, which I spoke about. So you can see that this is like a car dashboard where you see the speed, the acceleration, the fuel, and everything in real time. As soon as you're pressing the accelerator, you see the speedometer needle bouncing up. So this is the CPU needle here, and the network in out data, the connection per second, the the memory usage, the application usage, all those things are available in real time. The latency, the jitter, everything is available on real time on the application dashboard. Then again, we spoke about open APIs, where with SD-WAN, you should be able to talk to anything to everything, whosoever is capable of either consuming or producing APIs, whether it's an NMS system, SMS gateway, any healthcare system, any of the cloud systems, SIEM solutions, payment gateways, or your OSS systems, your BSS systems, your CRM systems, wherever the APIs are available, the SD-WAN should be able to get integrated with them, and there should be a seamless automated operation with minimal human intervention, and that's what Infinix offers. So that was all from my side, and would now be inviting questions, and would be more than happy to answer you. So I'm handing over to the moderator, and the forum is open for queries. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Mohit sir. So we can just move on to the Q&A session. I'll unmute the people
Sure.
on mute.
Hi, Mohit.
So I would like to, yeah, Suresh sir, please.
Okay. So is there any chance to see the interface, how the interface looks like? So because we are all interested to just see how is the login screens of the SD-WAN.
Oh, sure. Let me share something.
Yeah.
So is my screen visible?
Yeah, sure. We can see.
So this is one of the test systems which I'll be logging in on. So this is the controller. So this is the landing page, which talks about the sites which are up, the sites which are down, how many nodes are there, and where the sites are placed. So all these sites are mapped on a geographic map of India. You can see there is one site in Mumbai, one in Pune, and one in Noida. So these are some of the test sites which we have created. So what happens is, as soon as we do a ZTP from the mobile application for creating a new site, or activating a new device, the the mobile app takes the coordinates from its GPS and creates a site automatically, which gets mapped automatically. And even the address of that site is populated using Google API automatically. So there is no need to create a site manually with the name, the location, and all that stuff. It's all done automatically. You just need to scan the QR code. The API takes the geolocation, and the site is marked like this. Now, when we go to devices, these are the devices, and there's a difference between site and device. So one site can have multiple devices, while the device would only be part of a single site. So here you can see various of the statuses on the devices. Most of the devices, as this is a test system, so most of the devices are all red. That means they are powered off, they are down. One device is up, which status is showing green. VPN is down, and the controller is up. So we go to the dashboard of this one. And this screen displays the user contact, the site type, the serial number, and the software versions. Then we have software defined interfaces on the device. So that means that we can actually define which interface should be the WAN, which interface should be the LAN. And here you can see the status of LAN and WAN also. You can see these interfaces are red because they are down. Now let's see the WAN interface. So this is green. This is the WAN interface, which is up. We have the flexibility to create sub interfaces. We have the flexibility to create the virtual interfaces. So these are the tunnel interfaces, which are up. And we can also create optionally the wireless interface. Then on the routing front, we have we support both IPv4 as well as IPv6, and we support static as well as BGP. You can see these are all IPv6 and IPv4 prefixes can be given here. Then we support OSPF as well as the routing protocols. Then on the firewalling front, we support the firewall access policies. You can put the rule numbers, destination, port, whether accept or drop, make a comment and save the firewall policies. Then we have this URL filtering also, which has uh, the option to enable all these anti-malware, anti-phishing, anti-hijacking, anti-hacking, anti-adware, and you can select the the blacklisting of URLs based on categories. So this is the category list, for example. So if you want to kind of restrict all the adult content, all aggressive content, or all this kind of astrology, audio, video, bank, Bitcoin, celebrity, cleaning, cooking, anything, crypto hijacking, any of these drugs and all, if you want to kind of restrict, you can just choose these categories and put them in the blacklist. And if you don't want to use the categories, you want to just restrict a few sites and all, you can just put the site names. Like here you can see Facebook and YouTube are restricted, then categories, ads and adult is restricted, and then you can whitelist some IPs also. Like if you have blacklisted the whole category but you would still want some of the sites to be still available within that category, that can also be achieved. Then we support various kind of network address translations, which is again NAT overloading, destination based, source based NATs. Then VPN, we have the auto VPN, which is one of our, I would say, algorithms, one of our best algorithms, which can give you either a full mesh or a partial mesh or a hub spoke network automatically. So if you have this auto VPN enabled, you need not to, negotiate the IPsec parameters and everything. The spokes and hubs will automatically talk to each other and create the VPN automatically without any human intervention. Then we also have the feature of remote access VPN, which when enabled, you can actually connect to the devices using your laptops as well with a VPN client. We have our own VPN client also. So you can install the VPN client, enable the users here, and you can connect to the box and access the office network from your home, which is a work from home kind of feature which is there. Then we have the IPQoS, where you have the class based, the IPsec based, or DHCP based prioritization. We support queuing and policing both. Then on the policy front, we have the load balancing. When enabled, you have the option to put the weights on ISPs. Like if one of the ISP is a bigger ISP, means you have a bigger link from one of the ISPs, you can put the proportionate weight here, and based on that, the load balancing can happen. We support both per packet as well as per flow based load balancing. And we can also support sticky connection, where if some of the applications do not support load balancing, then you can enable the sticky connection. That means the packet which is the application which is using any of the links, it will be only passing through the same link. It will not be the reverse will also come through the same link. So it's a sticky connection. So the full load balancing feature will be avoided for those applications which do not support load balancing. Then you have the application analytics, where you can see the visibility in your network, what is happening, what all applications. So here you can see it's in real time. You can see all these applications are being detected. You have MDNS, NetBIOS, TLS, RTCP. Then you have CapWap, DHCP, OSPF, DNS, Google, Amazon. So based on these applications which are detected, you can actually decide which interface or which WAN link these applications should use. Suppose you know that you've got 3 WAN links, out of which one is the most stable one. So you might want to use your Amazon or maybe your WebEx traffic on that particular link, and leave rest of the traffic on the other links. So that is very much possible. Means you can just, like for Amazon, I'm just creating ad, and Amazon is here. I can select the interface which I should use for this particular application. Then for the link behaviors, we have something called a per hop behavior test, where we can test the per hop behavior of how the link is behaving on hop by hop basis. So if I'm starting this, I'll get uh, a per hop analysis on based on the latency, the packet drops, the jitter, and all. See, this is the graph which is created. So if I hover my mouse on each of these hops, so we can see that we have sent 10 packets. Last latency was 0.4 ms, average was 0.4, best was 0.4, worst was 0.5. So per hop I can get what is the performance of my link. So this is another one. Then we have various of the troubleshooting tools which are embedded in the system itself. Like ping and trace are the normal stuff. Then we have the packet capture tool also available, where you can do a Wireshark packet capture on the box itself, and the packet capture gets downloaded on your computer automatically. So if I just try it once, maybe I'll just try to do the capture and show you. So the packet capture is initiated, and I'll just do a generate report. So now it is generating the report, and when I'll hit the download report, it will open on my computer itself, which I have opened in the normal Wireshark. Then on the software upgrade front, we have the scheduled software updates, where you can schedule the software updates for the devices, and all the software updates are ISSU. So ISSU means in service software upgrades, which means that you need not to reboot the box when upgrading the software. And another feature is the speed test. So you can do a box to box speed test. Like if you have got the box installed, one at your Pune office, another one at Kerala office, you can do a box to box speed test and figure out how is the speed of the network from spoke 1 to spoke 2. Right now, I don't have any other box live. It's just a single box. I won't be able to run this speed test, but you can select your local and remote CPs and start the speed test, and you get the result. Then on the software updates, these are the updates which are published from us, from our side on the controller. Whenever there is a new feature enhancement or a bug fix, the update gets published here, and you can run the update directly, or you can schedule it for the later use. Like this is the scheduler. You can schedule it to be happening in non-busy hour or something. Then on the user side, we have the role-based and stuff like that, where you can have various of the users and roles created. Like these are the users. This is just one user which is created. So you can create the users and define the role. Here it is admin. You can give various kind of um, permissions for the various roles. Like one role is only a view only role, which can only view the devices. Another one could be a configurator, which can make some changes. Another one could be just an analytics viewing, or maybe adding a new device kind of role. So all those kind of things are also very much possible. So that was a very quick and high level summary of a controller walkthrough which I have given. Means that was in line with the time constraint which we have. But certainly, if more deep dive is required, means my team can be contacted. I'll be more than happy to give more deep dive information as and when required.
Sure. Thank you, Mohit. It's a good insight. It was a wonderful session. I think that other people can ask questions.
Sure.
Yes, sir. So, dear participants, whoever is having any query on this, please raise your hand. You can type your question in the chat box as well, or raise your hand. You can unmute yourself and talk.
Hello, Moisa, Anup.
Yes, Anu.
Yeah, so good evening, first of all. And it's really good to see means lots of features has been integrated in the box and from the previous that I have seen. And so I just want to know means how this telemetry things work. Means you said that the box push the traffic towards the controller to get
Yes.
the real-time telemetry. So what kind of protocols basically it used?
Okay, so we use gRPC protocol.
Okay.
So gRPC is Google Wrapper protocol,
Mm-hmm.
which encapsulates the data in JSON format
Mm-hmm.
and pushes it towards the controller
Mm-hmm.
using TLS security mechanism. So we create a TLS tunnel from the box to the controller and push the data in JSON format, and then
Okay.
it is unpacked
Mm-hmm.
and pushed into a database where some algorithms are run on top of it to deduce analytics and make it meaningful information, and then we
Okay.
show it on the graphs.
Okay, okay. And one more thing, sir. And the content, the URL filtering that we are talking about on the basis of the means category. So
Yes,
does this box support the HTTPS also?
yes, it supports HTTPS also.
But some of the banking sites is not means and previous boxes that we have seen, the HTTPS content is not cannot be basically blocked or modified. So means what are the things that we have done for the HTTPS?
Okay, so there are multiple ways how you can block HTTPS. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which box actually you're talking about. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe they are working on only layer 3. So
Mm-hmm.
if you are working only on layer 3, then you won't be able to block an HTTPS site. Reason being, HTTPS creates an end-to-end encrypted tunnel, and
Mm-hmm.
you are not able to see what is inside the tunnel. So that poses a challenge for blocking HTTPS sites. However,
Mm-hmm.
in order to block HTTPS, so HTTP you can still block, but HTTPS won't work. So how you can block HTTPS is you can act as a forward proxy.
Mm-hmm.
So you can act as a forward proxy in a transparent manner, so that your proxy gets um, the packet right from your user, and with the SNI you can get the server name identification done, while the cipher suits are still getting negotiated. The first packet has the server name information, and
Mm-hmm.
from there we get this information, and then we decide whether to pass it or block it. So if we block it, it is not going to work.
So we are not going. So we are not basically doing the complete means in
SSL
decryption of
decryption.
the.
No,
Yeah,
we are
yeah.
not doing SSL decryption. The moment you do SSL decryption,
Hmm.
your performance suffers a lot. Means
Agreed. Yeah,
with
it will take time.
SSL decryption, you won't be able to handle even 10 Mbps of traffic.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you
so,
so
so
much, sir. Thanks for your answer. That's
you're
all from my
most
side.
welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anu. Um, is anyone else there for asking any question? Our founder members, Mr. Jayan, would like to know about. Yes, please.
Hi, Mohit, good evening.
Hi.
Just one question. Like we have already discussed about the SD-WAN, and it was a good session. It was a good insight for us also. Even though we have seen a lot of other devices. But my question is, what is the actual disadvantages of implementing an SD-WAN? Is there any disadvantages comparing to the traditional way of connectivity?
Okay, so first of all, I would want to admit that this is the first time I have come across this question, that what are the disadvantages of putting SD-WAN in the network. So yeah, thank you very much for this. So disadvantages, there could be disadvantages. What I can immediately think of are a few, like you are moving away from the traditional WAN, which was kind of very much stable and point to point kind of connectivity, which was more or less dedicated for you. So of course, uh, if you forget about the price factors, then the traditional vans were one of the best for carrying point to point traffic, and securing them also, because that is a dedicated, sometimes it used to be a dedicated um fiber from laid from your office A to office B. So nothing could have been better than having a dedicated. It's like having your own train to travel, or having your own jet plane to travel. And SD-WAN is like you are hiring from others, but you are still managing to secure your traffic on a public network. So that could be one. Another one could be like the way I mentioned, that most of the SD-WAN players are not true SD-WAN players. What they do is they take all the user traffic also towards the cloud. In my personal opinion, that is not the right way of doing things, because there is no point, or I would say there is no even uh, uh, option to to carry the users traffic towards your cloud, and then kind of assess it, or maybe scrub it there. Because then who is taking the guarantee that the cloud of that particular SD-WAN vendor is fully secure, and the user data is not getting compromised there? Because again, in my humble opinion, user traffic should only be switched between the user locations and should not be taken anywhere else. It should be only the control traffic, which is mainly the configurations or the analytics part, which can be taken to the central controllers for analysis and for so all these kind of pseudo SD-WAN players means yes, they pose a threat for the user traffic privacy, I would say. That could be another disadvantage. Then the third disadvantage could be a single point of failure. This is a major one. Why? Because when you had the firewalls, the routers, the switches, they were all multiple different devices, the UTMs. So the point of failures were also distributed. Like if one of the box failed, then you can still bypass it and your traffic will still continue to work and all. But with SD-WAN, everything is integrated in one box. So though it gives lot of flexibility, it gives lot of user experience and cost saving and all that stuff. But what happens when that single box failed? One day maybe it had a power failure, or maybe uh, the power supply went off, or the board went off. Then there is no way you can bypass this box, because that is the one which is taking care of your routing needs, your firewalling needs, your switching needs, your threat prevention needs. So everything is in one single box. So that could be another means it could be looked at as a disadvantage. However, there are ways to mitigate that. You can have two boxes, or you have your routing in such a way that if one of the site is down, your traffic is forwarded to another one. But still, as you asked about the disadvantage, so I thought I should put some thoughts on this high availability point of view as well. Then another one could be some skill-based disadvantage. Like earlier, the or in the traditional WANs, the users or the network administrators were more keen on learning the protocols, learning the technology, sticking to the basics. But with these kind of more friendly ways of managing the network, means the network administrators might not at all be required to know how OSPF work or how the protocols underlying the network work, because they have everything intent based on your UI, and they just press a few buttons and things are done. Means need not to worry about the technology and learning more stuff. So of course, the people who have invested so much into learning all those things might feel a bit, yeah, we what to do with this, means this is like just two buttons clicked and everything is done. So there is no CLI, there is no stuff. So that could be another from the point of view of the networking geeks, that could be another stuff. So those are a few which immediately come to my mind.
Yeah, but Mohit, one more question, like which you clearly explained. Like I also thought of this, but being an expert on this, I thought to ask it you. But let me ask, like, do banks prefer SD-WAN connectivity, or they are still yet to decide on that?
Oh yes, so we have so many deployments in BFSI sector as well. Means we have some of the banks who are already running on our SD-WAN, and banks are preferring SD-WAN as the mode of IP transport. Because, and again, but banks are also putting this criteria that the banking traffic should not be taken to the controller. So if that criteria is met, there is no harm for the banks to embrace this technology, because this is giving all kind of management and control benefits centrally, and still having distributed architecture where their ATMs, their small branches can quickly be set up with no time, within no time, and can start talking to their central switches, their central databases, and that too over IPsec security, which is one of the preferred mode of security on transport.
Okay, thank you very much. I may contact you personally, so maybe we will try out for our organization, like
Absolutely.
POC or a concept, how it works. And thank you very much. Thank you for the session. It was a very wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jain sir. Do we have anyone else with any queries? I request our founder member, Mr. Anup, to say some words on this session. Anup sir, are you available?
Yes, the session was excellent, and actually I was little bit late to join because I had to go to a hospital. So I don't have like I just attended from the half portion only. So that's all. I don't have to say much about it. It was a good session. From whatever I have seen, it was a wonderful session.
Oh, thank you. Hope all is well. You visited the hospital. Hope everything is fine.
No, it was just like I had to take my child for a eye test. That's all.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
By the way, we'll share the presentation as well, and can certainly connect offline.
Yes, definitely, sir. Definitely. Suresh, sir.
I think if the QA is over, we can wind up. And Mohit, you can share your team members' contact details or something, so the people, those who are interested, they can contact you offline for sharing the further more information.
Of course. I think we'll share it here in the chat box as well as, and we'll put it in our presentation last slide, and we'll share it across.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
And if we can share the presentation, we will share you internally. We have a few groups internally to share the communication. So
Sure.
we will share you the document. Those who are, because there are a lot of people, because the Saturday and all, they are in the traveling time. So most of them request to send the presentation offline to them. So if
Sure.
we can share the document, we will share to you. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Before closing down, just a message to all of you. All of our members or participants, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. All the previous sessions are uploaded on the YouTube channel. So if you have missed something, you can very well go and
I think Jain, if Shanti can share that screen, the YouTube channel, so the people, those who are newly come to this session, they can see how we are maintaining that channel. Can you just share the screen?
Sure. So just a minute.
Yeah. So Mohit,
So you
here.
want me to share the Facebook page or the YouTube channel?
YouTube channel. Yeah. So Mohit, we are maintaining a YouTube channel. So we are editing this session and uploading in that YouTube channel, and that we are circulating the people, those who are not able to attend the session.
Sure.
Yeah. ഇപ്പൊ ഇതിൽ നിന്ന് പുതുതായിട്ട് വന്ന ആളുകളുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങളുടെ കോൺടാക്ട് നമ്പർ, ഇമെയിലും പേരൊക്കെ ഒന്ന് ചാറ്റ് ബോക്സിൽ അടിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നെക്സ്റ്റ് സെഷൻ വരുമ്പോൾ അത് ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കലി നിങ്ങളെ കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്തോളൂ. ടൈം എടുക്കെങ്കിൽ വൈൻഡ് അപ്പ് ചെയ്തോളൂ. സംഗീത് എന്തെങ്കിലും സ്പെസിഫിക്കലി സംസാരിക്കാനുണ്ടോ? ഹലോ സംഗീത്.
So I'm sharing the screen with our YouTube channel. So this is our YouTube channel where we upload all our previous videos within 1 week of commencement.
So the people, those who are joined today, you can see all the sessions are here. All the last 13-14 sessions are uploaded in the YouTube channel. IT Leaders Club, that's the channel name.
Shanti, you can click on that videos.
Yes, sir.
All the previous sessions are loaded here.
Shanti, menu videos click.
Start our today's session.
Sorry, sir. In menu.
Menu മറ്റേ ബർഗർ ബട്ടൺ ഇല്ലേ ലെഫ്റ്റ് സൈഡിലെ, അതിൽ ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ട് വീഡിയോസ് ഒന്ന് സെലക്ട് ബർഗർ ബട്ടൺ. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇവിടെ മുകളിലെ ഹോം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് വീഡിയോസിൽ ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്യും. അത് ടൈൽ ചെയ്ത് വരും, സ്ക്രോൾ ചെയ്താൽ മതി.
Okay, so please subscribe this channel. Okay, so you can move to the wind up session.
Okay, sir. So we are winding up today's session. So on behalf of IT Leaders Club, to Mr. Mohit, on behalf of each and everyone attending this session, and on behalf of IT Leaders Club, I thank you for sharing with us such an insightful and knowledge sharing session for everyone present here. And with immense pleasure, I thank you for accepting our invite and being our speaker today. Also, a very big round of applause to our founder members of IT Leaders Club for initiating such a wonderful platform for all of us for sharing and gaining knowledge. And thanks to all the participants for being a part of our session and making it successful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.